We ended up having something called the mechanised force, and it was described at one point a whole unit, a whole brigade ended up moving on one person's command over the radios. And to be able to do that, you've got to know what's going on up ahead of you, what the enemy are up to. And even in this day and age, as we often say here, with satellites, drones, aeroplanes, so many ways of gathering information. For an armoured force commander, having someone on the radio with direct line of sight to what's going on, radioing back that information, that's gold dust to them because they know they can rely on it. So we've got a parade of some classic armoured reconnaissance vehicles coming on now, starting with the dear pride and joy, our wonderful 1920s Rolls-Royce armoured car. This is a 1920 pattern. It's actually looks very similar to the Rolls-Royce from the First World War. This particular vehicle, we know its service history. It's been around the world. It was in Shanghai at one point. There's some dents on the fender on the front of this vehicle that we can actually see those dents in the photograph when it was out in Shanghai in about 1932. That vehicle, only two Rolls-Royce armoured cars left in running order, one with the Irish Army. It was handed over after the Irish Civil War. There's a lovely shell of a Mark I, or the earliest type of Rolls-Royce armoured car, the First World War variant, that's in the Indian Museum. It unfortunately hasn't got a body inside it. Following the Rolls-Royce is another classic, the Daimler Dingo armoured car. The Daimler Dingo, or Scout car, open-topped, Daimler engine in the back. The whole idea of the Dingo was speed. You had there about 55 miles an hour. It's got a 19 radio set on the back shelf behind the driver, and the idea there is you whip around the battlefield as quickly as you possibly can. The armour plate on the front will stop a bullet, but not much else, and the idea there is you can report back what's going on. Now, the Dingo went into service in 1939. 6,600 of them were made overall, so an awful lot of them around, but even that wasn't enough. So they ended up using other sorts of vehicles. We ended up with Morris light armoured cars, all sorts of other armoured commercial vehicles in many ways were put into service to act as this scouting and liaison role. Behind the Dingo, the Daimler armoured car, it's almost like a Dingo on steroids. It's got the monocoque body, so in other words, it doesn't actually have a chassis. All that armour plate, everything's bolted to it, including the engine. Very advanced design. It had disc brakes on it, and it's got the turret there you can see with a 2-pounder gun in. And again, two different ways of doing reconnaissance. Sometimes it's reconnaissance by stealth, like with the Dingo. Sometimes it's reconnaissance, they describe sometimes as like kicking the ant heap. In other words, wake the enemy up,